Ladies and gentlemen, K Kim here. Welcome to the daily update. Hope you guys had a good day trading today. Market is up about 1.2% on the S&P. Looks like Nasdaq is up also a little bit. Semi up about 1.2 there. Dow same. Russell 2000 up about close to 2%. Banks up about 1.5. Energy is down today. Energy was up yesterday. I think energy was the only index or only sector was green yesterday when all the indices were green or red yesterday. So looks like we did see some selling there today on energy sector. Transport outperforming every single sector year to date this year, up 2%. Biotech and emerging market pretty much flat there. Grayscale, Bitcoin did get hit today, down 11%. Gold, silver, and miners, they've been steadily going up. Despite the fact that we did see some turbulence in the equities, gold and silver, they've been pretty steady to the upside there. Oil's down, got heavier. Negative performance today, 3%. Dollar flat, treasury bond flat, VIX got hammered down 16%. I stick with the spider 65-minute chart here. So it looks like here, there's another gap down here. There's a couple things we want to talk about today in this video. First of all, we have to understand the fact that there are two down gaps that still open as of today. That's going to make things hectic for the buyers, and we want to continue to remain bearish in the short term and the micro term. And right now you can see that my first short term, the second short term, they crossed here, and we can also see that we do have a lower low as of today. So we got the lower high, lower low. We're still in the vicinity of potentially cultivating lower high here. So as of today, with the data that is at hand, things can change tomorrow. That's why we re-examine every single day. But today, with today's price action, we did see some bullish move here, but still I have to say the overall sentiment and the trend in the short term is bearish. And the good news about that is, I think with today's move, because if I zoom out a little bit here, you can see that for the up gaps, this gap still open. That's where we found support today or last night, and then we gapped up this morning. With that gap up, we opened up this gap, and we're just stalling right underneath this down gap that was open yesterday, which is coinciding with this prior support as potentially a new resistance, while the short-term moving average still also curling down. So with today's move, I still want to give benefit of the doubt to the sellers in the short term. But what about the midterm, however? So if we zoom out, you can see the midterm here. My midterm moving average is that blue dotted moving average. It is no coincidence. It is no mistake. It is not a random occurrence that we found support there. Right on that midterm moving average, coinciding with that rising pivot and the 50% retracement, and not to mention the gap area right here. So that was definitely important pivot after we took out this low from the bears. So what do bears need to do, and what do buyers need to do at this point? So let's talk about the bears first, because bears been in action this week here with this downturn. What bears need to do is, bears obviously want to continue in this short to micro term pressure, selling pressure. Their weapon right now is these two bearish down gaps that are still open. Bears want to make sure that those gaps remain open, right? And you can see this short-term moving average is there coming down. They're not crossing up, curling up, rising higher. They're crossing down, they're curling down, they're declining. So they want to use, bears want to use these momentum that has been built this week and continue in that, and continue to cultivate lower high and lower low. So essentially what they want to do is use that as a resistance here, prior support, new resistance, gap areas, moving short-term moving averages, resistance, come back down, fill this up gap that bulls have opened up this morning. So that's bears' objective for tomorrow. What about the buyers? What is it buyers need to do? Well, you know what? buyers, they still got more edge, and they're a little bit more advantaged because in the midterm, in the longer term, buyers still have that big wind, the tide supporting the buyers, right? In the midterm of things, can we all agree that this low is higher than this low? This low, right? We're still in the vicinity of higher lows and higher highs, and so in the midterm, we're a bullish trend. In the short term, we're bearish trend. So what the buyers want to do, take advantage of this situation right now that happened just today. Obviously, one day move is not going to establish anything. It could be nothing if this thing comes right back down and fill this gap. But if we can see a follow through to the upside tomorrow, bulls got something to work with here. Again, we got that pivot, midterm moving average, 50% retracement, the gap support. I'm going to actually move this right here, right on that 50% to identify that there's that gap here and the 50% retracement at 403. So what the buyers need to do, use that kind of that momentum here today, and best case scenario, obviously gapping it up and filling this. If we see something like that, see a gap up and fill this gap, all happens tomorrow, that would be the most bullish thing you're going to see. However, if we start to fizzle here, not have to fill this gap, we get up a little bit and hit that short-term moving and then fall back down. Bulls want to make sure to protect this this gap that was open, and obviously bulls want to fill this gap and this gap. We got 2 more days. No, actually we got 1 more day this week. So Friday, maybe Monday or early next week, filling both of these down gaps will be the priority if they do not want to see further selling, right? So do you understand that even though we are seeing some short-term fluctuation, we talked about this for months now, there will be short-term fluctuations as we've seen for months. So, so in the short term, the sentiment isn't change quickly. This is what we want to understand also the midterm. So midterm, buyers are still taking advantage there because we're still in an uptrend. So let's check out that oscillator and see if we can extract any more information out of this analysis here. So one thing I've realized about that oscillator is that we're in the extreme oversold vicinity or condition yesterday, and then we bounce and we're bouncing, and you can see that they're advancing here. But the thing is that sometimes if the bears keep these gaps open, protect these, then there's chance we could see maybe something like that where this thing pulls back down like this, and then we make lower low. That's what the bears want to do. Bears do not want to see bulls bring this all the way up to the top of his band. If we do see this thing going all the way up to the top of his band, by the time we see something like that, bulls probably fill this gap and going into filling that gap. So the oscillator's giving you that kind of that it's crossed with a bullish sentiment, but because we're in a short-term bearish downtrend, it could look something like this. So I'll tweet things out tomorrow morning if I see anything. We'll re-examine, we'll look at things in a more longer-term picture this weekend. You guys enjoy this evening and good luck trading tomorrow.